how did you become such a great director, such a good vocal coach? Do you
I
know how
think
that
probably the first time I ever coached somebody, I think I was still in Rochester, but there was a group in the course, a quartet that had gotten together, and they said, "Would you listen to us?" And that was my first experience, and I was, I don't know, I knew enough to help them a little bit, and then the same thing happened, and I've been coached so many times myself.
Mhm.
I think
Did
this.
you find, was there a lot of difference in the vocal coaches that you had, or their
Oh, yeah.
approach and their technique? And
Oh,
how
totally.
Did you,
Totally.
because we go through that in dancing too. How
Right.
did you find a path?
Well, I think, oh my God, yeah. I mean, there were some things that we did back, we used to have this thing that was going around with that coach, said, she wanted you to keep your headlights up. So we all stood like this, which was totally
Stiff.
uncomfortable and stiff.
Can't breathe.
And you can't breathe, but that was what was that was
the
her
way
thing.
at the time, or was
Well,
that particular person?
It was that particular person, We had another that had you. Well, I'm not still. She's still around, but you had to stand in like in a dance. It was so uncomfortable because it was standing with your foot, like this, and this was your posture,
And you had
but-
to stay there.
and you had to stay there. And then if you had to move, you had to do your move. Of course, we didn't do very big moves, Dave. But then back to that, it made sense, but it was too far,
Yeah.
And so you were afraid to do anything. You couldn't, whatever. I just have to tell you that one of the interesting things that happens when I first joined, there were no movements of any kind when I first
Was that
sang.
just the standard?
That was the standard, just like high school choirs do today. I mean,
You
Or
talked
church
about
work.
that
Yeah,
when you were
exactly,
coaching us.
exactly.
What's the philosophy of just standing? If
Well, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. I
you
really
think
can't.
it's just because that's what other
I think in the
People
past
have
it
done
has, But I remember when quartets would sing, they would put their hand like this. They would sing like this. And then it kind of they would do this. This is a little bit better.
so
And
everybody sort of copied each other.
yeah, it was kind of holding a loaf of bread, and that's the way you stood. Which had nothing to do with anything.
Right.
And then we had limited moves until, gosh, I don't know the year for that, but it was quite a while ago, and it was in, I forget where it was, but it was, I want to say somewhere in New Jersey or someplace. But anyway, that's the year that Rich Tones first came out, and they were dancing all over the stage. And it totally changed
Changed the whole.
the whole thing, I mean, and depending on the size and depending on the abilities of your performers, what you can do. I mean, we're doing crazy stuff this year.
But all of a sudden, everyone thought it was okay to.
Oh, it was,
Moving
and
together.
you have coaches come in who just work on that,
Mhm.
And I think so much now we try to sell the emotion of the song. I mean, I learned a lot being an expression judge, which has nothing to do with physical movement, or dancing or whatever. But if you can't do those things if you're not moving your body, you can't show
Right.
whatever, And I think
Well,
I've
if you're
learned
holding tension.
Oh,
in
you
your body,
well, you can't sing well either,
No.
But it makes so much difference, so that people can develop stories, And I know we tried one time. This is quite a few years ago, but we actually made up a story that everybody had to think of the story. You asked me about one of those pictures, and it was the
Yeah.
one that we had on the fishnet stockings and all of that kind of stuff. And we did a I think one of the songs we did was Lonesomest Girl in Town. That was the ballad. We did Big Spender and something else. But anyway, the whole story was based around this girl that had strayed, and all of her friends were basically hookers, but we didn't say that. I mean, but they were not doing the right thing, and appeared in shows and all this kind of stuff. And then finally she, finds her way and someone to love her and take her away from all of that. But we actually made up a whole story for everybody to live that story. Well, that was great, but it was hard to transform yourself into that you know, if I said, okay, I want you to sing, sing Somewhere Out There, what do you think about when you sing that song? You know, what do you think about when you sing a song for your mother or for your father? Or, you know, maybe you don't have a mother. I mean, maybe, you know, you, whatever. I mean, so you can't put somebody's story, but you can give enough explanation of, you know, what does this line mean to you type thing. And
That's,
so we
that's what we do in the theater.
exactly you do all the time.
What's
You
your
do all the
motivation
time.
or your
Exactly.
intention?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to live the lines, you have to live the lyrics and the music along with it, you know. And so I think we've all been working a lot harder, the whole organization. I mean, that was a big step for us. Some of the other things, having Jillian coaches through our lifetimes, but we've had the same ones now for, I mean, 10, 15 years because we like what they do for us.
Well, and then there's a path you can follow.
There's a path you can follow. We have a coach, Betty Footman, who lives in Texas, who's been working with us for a long, long time, and she finally gave us a way to sing that was so simple as far as this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, and that was it. You know, so I pretty much.
Can you explain?
Yeah, well, so it's like the face, place, and space.
Yes, so that's what
Right,
you talk
that's
about.
where, and I talk about that all the time. And I think you said, you know, did you prepare for all this stuff? Well, I picked up everything. You know, it was one of those when I'd go to a regional music school or international music school, and we get all these handouts. Well, I'd come home and try all that stuff. You know, so I could say, well, what did that feel like if I did that? You know, does that work for me? That kind of thing. And then coaching, I have learned so much. You know, I'm sitting here listening to a quartet.
You learn so much from teaching.
Oh my God, you do. You know that when you're teaching. You know,
you learn more from that than.
Well, you do. You listen to a quartet and you don't know exactly what to tell them until you try to mimic what they're doing, and you go, oh, well, I know why that's sounding like that because this is what I felt when I did that. You know, I mean, that kind of
A
thing.
lot of times with my students, then I have to ask them, tell me what you feel, what you think, what. They don't even know, but then when they do it, they go, oh, well, this is it, and that's it, and they teach
Exactly.
themselves, and then I learn.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
I'll say, well, this is what I feel,
Right.
try this, and then especially with the men, I'll say, so what did
Oh
you do?
yeah.
Well, I didn't do anything what you told me, but I just thought about what you told me.
See, isn't that interesting?
It's so interesting,
I
and
think
it
people
works.
don't realize that.
It works, and
you
you're
know.
not teaching yourself, but with the information.
Well, that's why, you know, in the choral singing, if you're singing a ballad, when we don't do a lot of hand moves and stuff in that because we want you to express, you know, not everybody's going to feel that. I mean, sometimes we'll end a song or something that, you know, whatever, or a big passage will spread or something. But you can't say, you know, and I'm feeling so, you know, you can't, everybody doesn't feel that same way. They have to come up with what they feel and show that on their face and their bodies, you know. You know, like jigglers and bouncers and whatever.
Well, I
people
see
that-
this, and I
yeah.
watched your chorus before I came to talk to you, and every woman looked to me like it was real.
Well, that's what we're working on all the time.
Well, and it was obvious.
Good,
Nobody
good.
was making faces.
Right.
And this is another thing I want you to talk about a little bit, maybe what dancers can learn from
Right,
singers,
right.
because especially in ballroom dancing, a lot
Right.
of people make faces. They're trying to, you know, display what the tango is, but there's no real, it's something out here.
Right.
And so I think maybe what you said about that space,
Right.
or you say smile,
Right.
even in chorus I see it, if
Right.
people make a fake smile. But
Right.
if you,
Well, you tell me to smile for a camera and I'll go,
yeah.
that's my Sweet Adeline smile, you know? I've got 1,000 pictures and all look alike, you know, from here to here.
But if you're lifting,
Oh, exactly. It
the
changes,
space is,
gives you
yeah,
the space
that's
difference,
a true
right.
smile versus a
Right.
sincere smile.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it isn't really you want them to smile, but you want
That
everything to
feeling.
move up into.
It's the music too. If if you're doing a tango, it's the music that drives me. You know,
Right.
what's that feeling?
Right.
It's so much different, you know, than if I'm doing a grand waltz or a
Right.
whatever.
But tango isn't always an angry dance.
Not
It's
always,
also can
no.
be
But it's why you listen to the
poignant or
music.
happy
Exactly.
or a game.
Right. I mean, I still think one of my favorite things that I'll always remember and watch it every 2 or 3 years when it comes around is when what's their names are Orville and Dean did Bolero.
Orville and Dean, yes.
Orville and Dean did
Yes.
Bolero. I mean, I can watch that a gajillion times because every move, you felt the music. It was had a meaning to it, you know. And I mean, it just
So I
was
think that's a
electric.
lot of it for dancers.
Oh, it's the
We
same
stay
thing for dancers and
in
singers.
touch with the music,
Exactly.
not so
exactly.
much how you look, but
No, and
Trying to
you
bring
don't
the
have
music
lyrics,
alive.
so we have to add lyrics and the music, you know. But if it's a good arrangement, then usually the music will reflect, you know, what's happening in the lyrics. I mean, that's if not, it's probably not a good arrangement. But I mean, seriously, that you know, that it usually goes along with it. So I think we forget that sometimes, you know. And people will say, people that are relatively new and understand, oh, your expression. I've been working on my smile all year, you know. And that
Well,
was
that
in
word
the elevator.
expression, yeah,
I know,
what does
because
that
that's an
mean?
expression,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is, when you're judging, you never look. When you look when they come out, and you look when it's over, and you finished writing.
so as an expression judge, you're listening.
You're totally listening.
That's
Isn't that
interesting.
interesting?
That's very interesting.
Oh, so, but I can tell if they're making some emotional communication
you hear
because
it.
I can hear it. That's the interesting part. And I think the same thing happens when you're dancing. If I didn't hear the music, but I could tell,
You should
I could
see the music.
see the music. See, I think that's the thing that
Yeah.
we lost for so long when we were singing, but that's what we've worked really hard to come back with. And I think that's, if people understood that, to make the relationship from singing
Mhm.
and dancing and a lot of other things that, you know, we do that
Mhm.
are artistic,
Mhm.
you know, and I think that's, if I look at a picture and I can't have a feeling from looking at it, I
Right.
probably don't like the picture, you know.
Right.
But I mean, you know, it's the feeling of whoever was doing it. And sometimes I think they should be in a loony bin, and sometimes I think, you know, oh my God, I'd love to know that person. And so I think that's, sometimes we miss those parts of life. I think that's, I love people, obviously. And I think what I've learned is everybody's going through something. And it's really hard when you're going through something personally and you have to come out and do a happy song and
Yes,
dance all around. It really is. You know, but that's when you have to say several things. First of all, I'm a performer. You know, I mean, you know, if you got a bad time going on in the home with your kid or something, you
Mhm.
can't not dance well, whatever. So it's the same thing with singing. But you also can feel, and if you get yourself involved in the music and the lyrics, all of a sudden you feel good.
Mhm.
We had a couple of things that have happened in our chorus in the last few years. Not too many years ago, we were singing How Of My Cradle Days. Yes. I don't know if you know that song, but it's about your mother and about, we were singing it at a regional festival to qualify. Actually, we won something with that. So, but and it's all about mother and how dear you are to me and all that kind of stuff. And about 3 weeks before competition, one of our members, who was at the time probably 30, lost her mother. And it was really hard, you know, because, I mean, it was so fresh in her mind. You know, and then to sing this song where we're really trying to, you know, get into this whole thing. And yet she had to do it. And then we had another member who had already lost her mother and then lost her father as we were learning one of the songs we're doing at contest this year, which is about a couple that meet when they're very young and fall in love, and through all the things that happen through life, they're still always together, and they ended up, when they die, when they basically die very close to each other, they bury them side by side, and there are flowers everywhere, you know, that you see. I'm just trying to think what the darn flower is. Isn't that so? Yeah, I know where it is. No, they're blue. Anyway, but this was mother's favorite flower, you know.
Oh,
So it all
oh my.
so she had to go through in her head and say, let me get through this song about all the happy times, because it is a happy song. You just have to tell, you know, there's a part that goes, then one day they died, you know, and you go, and their graves were side by side on a hill where robins sing, and they say violets were there the whole year round. It's a big, you know, whatever there, you know, and that was the mother's, you know, but she had to get through the love that they had, you know, not the fact that, I mean, so that, I think we have to live through that, and so you never know, but you have to show some story. I took too long for that, but I think the same thing is you know, it's just, it's really hard sometimes, but you have to, and then when you get through it, you feel like you've just sung a nice tribute to your, whoever you've lost, you know, or a husband or something
Well,
like
I
that.
think that's why you can finish a dance, or you can finish
Oh,
a
you
song,
can,
and you
yeah.
can be just so full.
Oh, you can. Sometimes you see dancers finish and they're just in tears, you
Yeah,
know.
I've been there myself.
Oh, I understand that. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm jealous that you can do that and I can't. You know? But anyway, I think those are the fun things. And having been an expression judge, a lot of times groups will come to me groups that are competing in international, whatever, and they've worked with some really good vocal coaches. And I don't want to mess up what they're doing. It's kind of close to contest or something, you know. And so we started exploring this whole expression thing, and it's just like, you know,
It has to.
it frees
the vocal
everything. That's the
mechanism,
whole
though.
thing. So I think
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful experience, and you just meet so many nice people like you guys.